When we were on the ship in 2021 and 2022, there was constant work, almost 24/7, except when they were diving on the sub, some kind of maintenance or troubleshooting. And we worked very hard. There were economic issues with the company asking us to forego getting paid for periods of time with the promise that they would get us caught up in paychecks after the first of the year.
Welcome back to our ongoing coverage of the investigation into the tragic implosion of the Titan Submersible. I just finished writing the summary of today's hearing for this video, and let me say something. If Stockton Rush had spent the same amount of time with Roy Thomas as we did today, Titan should never been built. Mr. Thomas meticulously explained why carbon fiber is bad for a pressure vessel, all the ways the epoxy can fail, how carbon fiber fails catastrophically with no warning, how Titan was stored improperly, Titan shouldn't have been towed on the ocean, Titan should have been scanned for laminations annually, and Titan didn't meet any of the accepted standards for a submersible which transports human life. How do we accept that Stockton Rush bypassed all of this knowledge, thinking he knew better? Maybe he really is a murderer. Let's hop into the video. As a special thank you to our viewers, we're excited to announce a free giveaway of an exclusive 3D printed model of the Oceangate Submersible. This detailed model is designed to float and dive in your pool, bringing a piece of deep-sea exploration right to your home. Don't miss your chance to win. Participate through the link in the description or secure your own model by purchasing it on our website. As the new day of testimony begins, the US Coast Guard continues its investigation into the tragic implosion of the Titan Submersible. Today, Guillermo Sonline, who co-founded Oceangate with Stockton Rush in 2009, testified before the investigative panel. Sonline left the company in 2013 but remained a minority stakeholder. Despite no longer being involved in day-to-day operations, he offered insights into the company's origins and his perspectives on regulation and safety. Sonline recounted how he and Rush aimed to have 4 to 5 submersibles available for charter around the world. Initially, we weren't even going to build our own subs, he explained. They began by purchasing a training wheel sub to study and understand submersible technology. In January 2013, the company acquired its first submersible from the Azores, which later became known as Cyclops, Oceangate's first operational sub. Sonline transferred his CEO title to Stockton Rush when the company's focus shifted from operations to engineering. Rush wanted me to stay on, but it didn't make sense for me to stay, he noted, adding that it was beneficial for fundraising efforts to have Rush as CEO. He expressed that leaving was one of the hardest decisions I had to make, as he was earning $120,000 as CEO and had been deeply involved in the company's development. When questioned about regulating submersibles, Sonline admitted the topic was not in his wheelhouse. He suggested that dedicating resources to developing new regulations might be a waste of taxpayer money, given the relatively small size of the submersible field, which he estimated to consist of at most 100 submersibles worldwide. I don't know what the right way is to regulate this kind of activity, he said, expressing skepticism about the effectiveness of current regulatory frameworks. In his closing remarks, Sonline expressed deep sorrow over the tragedy. This was not supposed to happen, he said. 5 people should not have lost their lives. He emphasized his hope that the memories of those who perished would be honored by continuing the pursuit of deep ocean exploration. Someday in the near future, we'll look back on this time as a major turning point in human history when the general public took an active interest in our efforts to explore the deep ocean, he stated. Guillermo's testimony was interesting in terms of the insight it gives us into Stockton's worldview. Oceangate was founded in 2009, the same year as Uber, when the trend in startups was to find loopholes in regulation and bleed the opportunity dry. I'd guess that the most successful startups using this pattern focused on industries where regulation norms were out of date, or founded by people with deep expertise in that industry, with the goal of selling to a larger company before you can make a big enough mistake to bankrupt yourself. They missed up by attempting to disrupt an incredibly high-risk industry that has very successfully self-regulated for decades. The great irony here is calling themselves creative and innovative when they're just replicating a pattern, jumping from idea to idea until something sticks. Guillermo is himself a great example of this. He enters dream big markets where he can overpromise, underdeliver, and point the finger at regulation. Just look at his current company's Bahamas project and how much the narrative has changed on the little information that is public. I'm hoping there's an intrepid journalist out there working on a deep dive into Oceangate and what it tells us about startup culture. I would gladly read it. It's also interesting that exploration seems to be the status symbol du jour. Not that it never was, but it seems to have become a default for people whose lives don't afford them much meaning or opportunities to contribute, i.e., rich people. Saying you're exploring for the benefit of humanity is being used as a cover for many sins. Roy Thomas, a senior principal engineer with the American Bureau of Shipping, ABS, provided critical insights into the material choices and lack of classification for the Titan submersible. Thomas confirmed that Oceangate never reached out to ABS regarding classification of the Titan submersible. Oceangate was not involved with the ABS, never requested classification, and did not submit a design review or surveys, he stated. Concerns over carbon fiber composites. He highlighted that carbon fiber composites are not included in the list of ABS-approved materials for submersible pressure hulls due to their inherent risks. Carbon fiber can fail suddenly without early signs of trouble. There is no yield point to the material. It goes all the way to the failure point and then it catastrophically fails with little or no warning, Thomas explained. Carbon fiber is prone to degradation from UV light, internal voids, and damage from impacts or saltwater ingress under extreme pressures. The material is also sensitive to fatigue failure from the cyclical pressurization and depressurization experienced during dives. Properly manufacturing thick carbon fiber sections is difficult, requiring meticulous care to avoid voids, blisters, and delamination. Thomas indicated that if the Titan had been classified, ABS engineers would have conducted extensive tests following incidents such as the dome falling off or reports of loud banging noises. He also mentioned that Oceangate's decision to store the Titan outside could have led to material degradation. To expose it to the elements could possibly lead to degradation of the materials, he said, emphasizing the importance of controlled environments for storing submersibles. Phil Brooks, who joined Oceangate in 2019 and was promoted to Director of Engineering in 2021, provided testimony on the company's financial difficulties and the resulting impact on safety protocols. He left Oceangate in March 2023, shortly before the tragic implosion. Brooks revealed that Oceangate asked employees to forego getting paid for periods due to financial constraints. They asked for volunteers, he said. I don't think anybody did it, but it was clear that the company was economically very stressed. He expressed deep concern that financial pressures were directly impacting safety measures. The safety was being compromised way too much, at least for myself, Brooks stated. Brooks disclosed that no testing or maintenance was performed on the Titan's hull between 2022 and 2023. Given that the hull was made of carbon fiber, a material susceptible to damage and failure after repeated deep dives, this lack of maintenance is particularly alarming. He wanted to bring the hull back to their facility in Everett for inspection, suspecting potential issues with cracking. However, he was overruled due to the cost of shipping it back from Newfoundland. It was very frustrating that it was left in St. John's and we had no way to look at it, he said. Brooks recounted how Oceangate decided to switch from using the vessel Horizon Arctic to the Polar Prince, which would tow the Titan submersible behind it. This decision introduced new risks, as maintenance had to be performed on a bobbing platform in rough seas. At my age, working on a bobbing platform was too dangerous and not something that I wanted to do, he shared. I did not feel right that my staff would be required to do that. He raised these concerns with Oceangate's Chief Operating Officer, Bob Schumann, suggesting they halt the mission due to safety risks. However, his concerns were brushed aside because of financial pressures and commitments to clients who had already paid. I was told that it was not possible, Brooks said. They had people that had paid, and they had to go through with it. Due to the combination of financial instability and compromised safety protocols, Brooks decided to leave the company. It was just not a workable solution. I just did not think I could work on the sub. It was just too dangerous, he explained. Brooks's testimony underscores a troubling narrative where financial instability led to unsafe operational decisions. The company was prioritizing cost savings over essential safety protocols, even asking employees to work without pay. Essential maintenance and inspections were deferred or ignored due to costs, despite the known risks associated with the materials used. Employees were expected to perform dangerous tasks in hazardous conditions to save on costs associated with proper facilities and equipment. Guillermo Soenlein discussed the challenges Oceangate faced regarding regulatory compliance. Differing interpretations by Coast Guard sector commanders affected their operations. In 2012, Sector Miami ruled that Oceangate was a passenger-for-hire operator, forcing them to cease operations in South Florida. Soneline argued that existing regulations were too burdensome for innovative submersible operations, suggesting that compliance would hinder the company's mission. There were uncertainties regarding whether their first submersible was compliant with the Jones Act due to components manufactured abroad, and DV-80 seems to have been the beginning of the end, although there were 2 to 3 deep dives after it and before the fatal dive. There was no 1-3 test model using the same manufacturing technique as the hull that was put into use. They used different types of carbon fiber winding curing in the initial 1-3 test models. The company was running out of money, unable to pay employees. This seemed to contribute also to use of the Polar Prince, no on-ship maintenance and testing, towing Titan behind, poor winter storage, and no testing after the Dive 80 bang. It's incredible how many more details are still coming out and filling in the gaps. I never thought I'd say this, but I think we will eventually have a pretty accurate explanation for the implosion. Oceangate was so transparent with its haphazard operations, they've left so much evidence behind. I do feel sorry for the people who will only be getting the summary version of all of this, rather than watching all of the hearings. Some witnesses were stellar, some were infuriating. The slow burn of hours of marine investigation hearings is certainly more fascinating and engaging than anything else I could be watching right now. But this story is far from over. The next few days are crucial as more testimonies and evidence come to light. We'll be here, digging deeper, connecting the dots, and bringing you the latest developments. If you found this analysis insightful, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Tomorrow, we'll be back with new updates from the hearing, diving even further into this profound event that has captured the world's attention. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.